Good morning. Well, amazing what going off of daylight savings time will do. I mean, people are here. I mean, it feels like kind of an hour later, so everybody's more awake. So, how good is that? That's a cool deal. You what? Yeah. Hey, did anybody? No, is anybody going to admit that they were here an hour ago? Oh. Hey, but now you see what happens in that first hour. Okay. More T-shirts. The lottery gives me a 1 in 200 million chance you won't go to work tomorrow. Alcohol gives me a 1 in 5. I don't have the blood alcohol level to deal with you right now. Respect your elders. They graduated school without the internet. If I'm hunting, I'm happy. So, for all you hunters. And by the way, I'm Phil, and most of you really have no idea what I do for a living, and I'm actually an insurance agent, which is almost as scary as a used car salesman. So I did come as an insurance agent for Halloween. Scared everybody in the office. So, but Medicare is really important this time of year, and obviously health insurance, the Affordable Care Act stuff's coming up soon. So, and I do all that stuff and a lot more. So, anyhow, we do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon. So, and John said, I believe in God, but not as one thing, not as the old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in all of us. I believe that what Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and all the rest said was right. It's just the translations that have gone wrong. So, and George, good old George. Some of you know that we actually met him, and he even knew about the church because we had been sending him stuff. Or actually, Dottie at that time had been sending him stuff, and I don't think he believed it, But we actually we met him up at the theater up in Yakima, and he came out on stage with our letters and said, is there anybody here from the Divine Fellowship? And of course, yeah! So he came down and was just sitting here and talking to us. I mean, this was everybody, waiting for everybody to start, and he's just talking to us. And it was very cool. It was very cool. Very cool. So, George, may you rest in peace. Religion has convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man is a list of 10 specific things he doesn't want you to do. And if you do any of these things, he will send you to a very special place. A burning fire, smoke, and torture and anguish for you to live forever and suffer the burn and scream until the end of time. But he loves you, and he loves you, and he needs your money. So there's my slap in the face of some traditional religion. So anyway. Let's see. What is this? Oh, this is just kind of stuff. The problem with I figured this is a good time to be doing political jokes. So the problem with political jokes is they get elected. We hang the petty thieves and appoint the great ones to public office. If we got 1/10 of what was promised to us in these acceptance speeches, there wouldn't be any inducement to go to heaven. And those who are too smart to engage in politics are punished by being governed by those who are dumber. So, by all means, get out and vote. Because that's what we do in this country. And we're thankful for that. This also is the time of year sometimes where United Way is doing things, especially out in the area. They might have already done that. I don't even know. Somebody can tell me if I'm late or not. Am I late? Or are they still? Oh, okay. Well, you can go back and change. They actually ask, where do you want your money to go? And you can actually put in there the Divine Fellowship if you'd like, because we get a couple checks a year, and we're extremely grateful for them. Also, the website has a link, and Amazon. If you're doing stuff on Amazon, especially for Christmas coming up, you do Amazon Smile, and it doesn't cost you anything. Amazon actually will send us a little bitty check, but lots of little bitty checks can make a difference. So if you're going to do stuff, sign up, put the church in there, please, and we'll be good. Stuff going on at the church, always. The calendar, the last, I don't know, maybe even year or two, it's almost always completely full. And in fact, there's frequently things going on that are not on here. So, but let's see, this week, of course, Qigong always at 9:15 in the morning on Sundays. Emotion Code on Monday. Essential Oils on Tuesday. Interchange on Wednesday. Edgar Casey, ARE, on Thursday. It appears that Friday is open this week. We don't know. And A-Ward with Josie. Are you doing that? Where's Josie? You doing that? Okay. Do you want to talk?
Yes.
Okay.
When I go in the arena, he goes in the arena. I want to invite those of you who were not here last week to our Wednesday night new segment of Interchange. It's about the thoughts that we have, and if they're running your mind, should they be? And what we do is work through some processes of different people. Right now we're talking with, you work with Byron Katie of questioning our thoughts. I'm going to turn it over to him now.
Bottom line, you're not your thoughts. We give you permission to question them.
And it's a hands-on, do the work, not talk about it, not just read about it, but actually do the work. And we invite you to come to be there with us and get in clarity about what thoughts are running your life.
Thank you. And on the back of the calendar, every month there's always words of wisdom. And Ginny did these this month, talking about our 19th anniversary, which is, we're going to celebrate it next Sunday. So that's next Sunday will be our 19th. I mean, lumbago starts I can feel stuff happen when I say things like that. It's just like grandkids. Our oldest one just turned 19, and it's like, good night. How does things like that happen? So, war and conquest dominated the thought of the Middle Ages. Artisans and smiths have a great deal of attention to develop both offensive and defensive armor. Though styles slowly changed, the life of the soldier was likely to depend upon his supply of up-to-date equipment. The early French called a man's warlike equipment his fourniture, from the term for to furnish. Normans took the word to England, where spelling was slightly altered, but the old meaning still retained. As late as 1603, it was not unusual usage when a traveler described Turkish soldiers as differing from European in language, countenance, and furniture. Adoption of modern weapons reduced the amount of hardware carried by soldiers, so the military term was applied to any type of portable equipment. Of these, the articles used to furnish a house were of paramount importance, so furniture came to designate a portable equipment for any type of building. Now you know. Essential tools. Oh. There we go. No poems can please for long or live that are written by water drinkers. But you got to remember, this was Horace at 65 BC. So just think about that, what was happening back then. I don't know. I don't really know, actually. No place affords a more striking conviction of the vanity of human hopes than a library. Dr. Samuel Johnson. I have made this letter longer than usual because I lack the time to make it short. Blaise Pascal, 1600. So. And were you going to talk about this? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm forgetting somebody. There's one I'm forgetting. Daryl. Yeah. While I remembered.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. You can do it afterwards then.
I just got one. All right. Do I have any veterans in here? Could you please stand up? We have a veterans assembly on Tuesday right over here at Southside Church because our school doesn't have an auditorium. So I have invitations to anybody that think they might make it. Think you can make it? Tuesday during the day?
I've gone just about every year. It's very cool. First thing in the morning on Tuesday.
Think you can make it? First thing in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Go ahead and take one. Think you can make it?
I'm trying.
What about you?
We'll see. I might make it.
And think you can make it? Well, good. That's my last one. And thank you all for your service, by the way.
Thanks. Thank you, Daryl. Dan, you know where they are over here, so you can go.
Okay, first, I kind of dropped the ball on the communion calendar and tried to get it sent around last week, but we were in the middle of our potluck, so I'm going to send that around now. We have 2 spots left, the 20th and the 27th. For those of you that may not know what this is, it's the person, they come in early, they put together the communion that we share every week. It's just a really nice way for you to be of service if you'd like. It's very easy to do. If you've never done it before, we're here. We can help you, guide you through it. It's really simple, but it really does help a lot if somebody, signs up to do it. If you if the 2 days are filled in for this month, go ahead and flip it to December, the last month, and then we'll just hopefully get them all filled in. I'm going to start that this way. Okay, and then there's one more thing. I have to admit that I'm spacey. I did something with the list for the holiday fair that we're going to be doing on December 3rd. So the sign-up sheet that you vendors signed up for, I'm sure I'm going to find it. I've either stuffed it in my pants pocket and I haven't found it or whatever, but it is missing, okay? And I apologize because I took it home yesterday. I was going to start calling people. So if you are interested in a table, it's $25. We have room for about 15 people. Any kind of a business, sales, service, anything you'd like to do at this holiday fair to get your name out, sell gift certificates for your business if you don't sell product. But please sign up again for me, so even if you signed on the other sheet.
And what day is the fair?
December 3rd.
Okay.
It's all day. It'll go from 9 to 3.
And that's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday, yes. So, and please get the word out as well that we're hosting it here at the church so that more than just and YouTube people who are local, we'd like to get, customers, people to come in, recognize what we do, that kind of thing. Gives us the businesses through the church here opportunity to get the word out.
It's fun. We've been doing it for a few years. That one's fun. Yeah. And Thanksgiving this year, as we've done for it's the 3rd year I think we've done this, 4th, can't remember. We have Thanksgiving here. So anybody that doesn't have a family and want to do something, or people that have a family and want to do something else. So yeah, we understand. Or both. Yeah, we have people that just love to do both. So they come in for dessert here or eat here and go dessert. And
I should probably do sign up sheet for that.
yeah, probably should. Probably should.
Next week will be okay, right?
And when are we going to do that?
The Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Okay. He's checking. The Bible is available in nearly 2,500 languages, including Klingon, Vulcan, and Romulan. Okay.
Vulcan I knew about because I've read it, but I haven't.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But now you got to find the Romulan and the yeah. Remember, I told the story about Christmas here a number of years ago, probably about 9 years ago now, where we rode a motorcycle in and everything. Hans did it right there. That Hans right there, he did it. So, thank you for that. I still remember it. Oh yeah. Yeah, the cat remembers too, unfortunately. So, sitting on the highway waiting to catch speeders, a state police officer saw a car puttering along at 22 miles an hour. He thinks to himself that car is just as dangerous as a speeder, so he turns his lights on the car and pulls it over. Approaching the car, he notices there are 5 old ladies, 2 in front, 3 in back, wide-eyed and looking like ghosts. The driver, obviously confused, said, "Officer, I don't understand. I wasn't going over the limit. What seems to be the problem?" "Ma'am," the officer said, "you should know that driving slower than the speed limit can also be very dangerous." "Slower than the speed limit?" "No, sir. I was doing exactly 22 miles an hour," the old woman said proudly. The officer contained a chuckle, explains that 22 was the route number, not the speed limit. So, a bit embarrassed, the woman grinned, thanking the officer for pointing out her error. "Before I go, ma'am, I have to ask, is everyone okay?" And these women seem badly shaken and haven't uttered a word this whole time. "Oh, they'll be all right in a minute, officer. We just got off of Interstate 24 going out to Dayton." I-24. I-24. Yeah, 124. Yeah. Okay, so I blew that one. What can I say? That was a good one. That was a good one.
When I heard that joke, it was State Route 99.
It actually says I-42, and I figured that wouldn't work.
That actually happened to me in a town over by Montgomery.
And you're admitting it?
I've been to town and I'm looking around the place to eat, and this cop stopped me.
Uh-huh.
And he pulled me over, and I went, "Look at me, what?" So he came over and he said, "Ma'am," he said, "you're going too slow." I said, "What?" He said, "How do you say it?"
He said, "In the great state of Washington, we call this impeding traffic."
And he was behind me.
Those
see?
words,
He was
yeah.
following me like, "Get out of here with that. Would you move?"
Well,
Must
I'm
have
sure.
We were between him and the donuts. That's all I could think of.
so how fast were you going?
I don't know. It's probably going 25 or 20, you know. Just
Okay.
looking for, and he said, I said, "Well, I'm looking for something." He said, "Well, park and look for it."
Okay. Hey, let's sing a song. You know, I have no doubt that no other church in the world would play that song. No doubt at all. It's a cool song. Well, I don't know.
Interesting week this week. Hi there. Daylight savings time is over and you're still here. I don't like change. Anybody else not like change? Oh man. It could be bad, but don't change it because at least I know I'm familiar with that. Interesting week this week. Had it's going to sleep. Close my eyes, and often, in order to sleep, I try to set like a daydream. Of here's what I'd really like to see happen, and maybe see myself on a beach or whatever. Fall asleep so much faster that way because then the brain is doing something other than running. It's running amok. Anyway. Closed my eyes, started to do that, and all of a sudden it was just black screen. And then this angel showed up. And sometimes they'll show up and announce themselves to me, and this is one I had not seen before. Huge, and it was just phenomenal and bright, and it looked like quicksilver. Like it was made out of mercury. And beautiful, amazing. Wings were huge. And the wings came up and went out. And then they each, the feathers were just amazing. And again, this quicksilver. And I said, "Well, who are you?" And the response, I couldn't tell if it was male or female. Angels are really neither. They're androgynous. But sometimes they'll appear as either female or they appear as male. And I couldn't really tell what this one was. So I asked, "Well, who are you?" And the answer was, "I'm the angel of deliverance." And I thought, I never saw that movie. And I think it's a good thing because I heard it was good acting, but it was really hard to watch or something. I don't know. And of course, he thought that was really funny, so I think it was a he. And he said, no, I'm the angel of deliverance. And I had just been reading in the good book about Matthew, where it talks about the Lord's Prayer. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And he said, that's why I'm here. You were just thinking about deliverance. That's deliverance. And I said, really? Tell me more about that. And he sent me this wave of feeling. And that feeling when you are so relieved you don't know whether to laugh or cry, that was the feeling that he sent. This wave of, oh, thank God. That's the energy that he sent. And he said, you can call me Nick, because I show up in the nick of time. So angel of deliverance or Nick, either one. But he said, don't be afraid to call on me. I'm happy to help out. And he said, I'm the one that comes, like if somebody has accused you unjustly of something or has lied about you, and then I'll be the one to slip in information at the last minute that exonerates you. I'm the one. And he says, I'm also the one that, you get your back up against the wall and your deadline on paying your house payment. And remember that time that you got that insurance check back that you weren't expecting? That was me. So he's here to assist when you're in a time of dire need. So don't be afraid to call on this angel of deliverance. I wish you could see what I could see in my head, and I wish I could paint it or draw a picture of it, because it was absolutely stunning and phenomenal. So, sometimes we feel like we can't ask for assistance, and yet that assistance is there for us. We were talking about that at the Followers of the Way class on this last Thursday, which was way fun as far as I was concerned. Hope you had fun with that too. Want to chat with you today about a process. I want to give you a process. Now, it's been years since I've done this process. I did a workshop on, anybody remember HeartSpeak? Long time ago. How long ago was that? That was so long ago and so many computers ago that I don't have the computer program, probably 10, that I don't have a computer program where I had the document. So I had to recreate a new one last night. But anyway, HeartSpeak process. Phil and I were saying, well, it's Healing Sunday. What healing process could we bring? And it was like, well, it would be really wonderful if we could give you a process that would help you connect your heart space and your brain. Because sometimes there's a disconnect. So I prayed about that. I don't know if it was the angel of deliverance, but may have been. The insight that came to me was that you're always connected. Judgment gets in the way. We choose to apply a judgment to a situation, making it right or wrong, good or bad, and that's what disconnects the heart from the brain, and the brain from the heart. So this HeartSpeak process is about moving through the emotions to allow you to have emotions flow and be real to yourself, and at the same time be connected intellectually, mind. Get the mind connected and staying out of judgment. So here's what happens. When we have a perceived boundary and we have that perceived boundary gets breached, we get our feelings hurt. And once our feelings are hurt, all bets are off. That person's a terrible person and this is horrible, and we go nuts, right? Because we don't feel the feelings, we stay hung up in judgment about it, and we never heal. So Healing Sunday, we want to bring you a process by which you can heal. So there's, I've got a handout for you, so you don't need to take notes. I've got a handout for you. And there's several books from which this process derived. One was Nonviolent Communication. I don't know if you've read that one. That's really cool. The Pathway, Boundaries, The Man Who Listens to Horses, Monty Roberts. Good stuff. And the reason he's part of the plan here is that in his work with horses, he also applies it in working with people. He has this place in Yuma where he will work with people in a group, and the people work with horses. And he'll have a group of people, and he gives them instructions, and then they go and try to clean a horse's hoofs, and they don't know what they're doing necessarily. You don't have to have horse sense about that. But what he's found is horses are so sensitive. They have a real keen basometer. And so if you're terrified of horses, they're okay. They'll pick up their feet and let you clean the feet. If you say, oh, I'm not afraid of horses, and you're terrified of horses, they're not going to move. They're not going to budge. They are a real good reflector of where you're at. Because if they can't trust you, they're not going to pick up their foot. Have you ever tried to get a horse to pick up its foot if it doesn't want to? Not happening. Not happening. So he has wonderful stories about how he applies that, and how being true with your emotions is really, really important. So that was part of this process. He did tell one story where women who had been through breast cancer, he sets them all up on hay bales and on the side, and then he talks to them, tells them what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and then he brings the horses over. Well, as the women just sat there, all of the horses came, I'm going to cry, all the horses came out of the pasture and stood with their heads over the fence waiting. They knew these women had been through stuff and were survivors and were powerful women, and they were there to acknowledge them. They were real. They were on track. So anyway, if you can find a blessing in that particular challenge, life challenge, it makes you real, I guess. Anyway, so he's part of that process. Love and Logic. Oh, and the other thing about Monty Roberts, you might want to get that book. It's really cool. The other thing about Monty Roberts is he fosters all kinds of kids. And he treats them with this power of respect and responsibility, which is kind of what Love and Logic is about. Where he doesn't get mad or angry, but holds them accountable. It's just really cool stuff. And of course, the Bible. So you put all those together, and Elaine Mellon has the Pathway. She's the one that wrote the Pathway. And she has this, where they were working with children, teenage children. And many of them were overweight, and they were struggling and had issues. And so they were in like a rehab house or whatever, and she would work with them. And if they followed this path of emotions, not only did they get to be better, more balanced, and more able to cope in their life, but their weight neutralized, normalized. So it was powerful stuff. So I want to share that with you. And the first emotion is anger. Now, I want us to talk about anger, because I'm not talking about fury. If you're throwing things and breaking things and screaming, you're not angry, you're in rage. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about angry. We're talking about anger. Anger is that flashpoint that says, I'm not okay with that. We need that. Because otherwise we would just go, la, 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 everything's just fine. And it's not. And we're not being real and authentic to ourselves, and we're not living a real life that brings us love and joy. Because if you can't feel the feelings, you can't get to love and joy, right? So here's this Bible verse I want to share with you. Ephesians chapter 4, verse, that's not the right one. It is. Verse 26, be angry and yet do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Oh, that's hard. It means we've got to face it. And I'll show you a process how to face it without going too far down in a spiral. It's important to face it. Look at it, because it's here for you. And do not give the devil an opportunity. Let him who steals steal no longer, but rather let him labor, working with his own hands what is good, in order that he may have something to share with him who has in need. So in other words, get to be angry, but then you get to shift. Do it different. So here's anger, and then he's relating it to stealing. Well, we steal because, well, you have it and I don't. Now see all that emotion is, all that judgment of you have, I don't, I'm going to steal. That sort of thing. Or I don't have it good enough, or it's hard, it's not fair. We get caught up in those kinds of judgments. And that disconnects the heart space. But being able to be aware and observing of an emotion empowers us. So, anger. How do you face anger? It's really easy. I'm angry because. If you find the because, you're where you need to be. If we go, I'm angry at that, then that makes it that out there. And I'm not taking accountability. I'm not looking inside. But I'm angry because, whatever. Somebody give me a situation that they're going through. We'll walk through this. Give me the situation, the whole situation. Okay.
It was a miscommunication. You forgot to tell me about this.
Okay, so
I forgot to tell him about this, and now he's mad, and that hurt my feelings because I didn't get to finish telling him what I wanted to tell him.
okay, so there's this miscommunication. She said, she didn't say, he didn't say, and they got all confused, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm angry because he didn't let me finish. Okay, I'm angry because he didn't let me finish. That's valid. You know, I just wanted to clear it up, and he didn't let me. Because you know what? When I'm angry, chances are that other guy's angry, and that person over there might be angry. I mean, we get all hung up, and then we stop thinking, and we stop loving, because the brain disconnects from the heart space. It all boils down to, now I've got to be right, and you've got to be wrong. I've got to justify where I'm coming from in my own mind, because somebody's got to be the bad guy, and it's not going to be me, right? But if we can say, I'm angry because, and look at it, I just wanted to clear it up, that's a good thing. Then the next emotion, if you really be with that, then that will bring up the second emotion, and that's sadness. I'm sad because. So can you be with that long enough and find the sad?
Yeah.
So what are you sad about?
I was sad because I was feeling connected, and then all of a sudden, no more connection.
Okay, so I'm telling this for the camera. So you're sad because there became a disconnection between you and your beloved. And that was sad. And that will lead you to fear. So what's the fear? I'm afraid of, or I'm afraid because.
You don't love me anymore.
I'm afraid of losing this love, or I'm afraid that love is gone. Okay? Now that will lead us to shame, blame, guilt, all that crap, right? And a judgment and a pronouncement. This is where often we will get those pronouncements that we lock onto, but they become almost sacred. I'll never, that's where this comes in. Have you ever done that? Okay, we have to look at it. Doesn't mean you stay there, but you get to look at it. Really, really look at it. So I should.
Well, what came up was, I'm never going to be loved again.
Or I should just stop right. I should just give up. Okay. Now often with that, there's the corollary to that of what they should do. They should
Get over it. Fix it.
he should fix it. He should come to me, make it all better. He should. Okay, now you feel all that, the truth of that. Once observed, now then you can move into a different state of being by shifting yourself into a get to. Instead of should, because that's judgment, slip into get to. I get to. Okay, here it is. It's already happened. I get to. Say it better next time. I get to wait until we're not upset and then chat about it. I get to bring it up later. I get to process this out in a different way. Does that feel right?
Yeah.
Feel that? And he gets to. He gets to be where he is.
Or that. Is good too.
Yeah, he gets to. You know, we can't fix the other guy. We can't make them do what we want them to do. So they get to just be where they are. They get to. And when you get to the get tos, then the next little step is self-care. So in the meantime, we haven't got this resolved yet, but in the meantime, what's one thing you could do for yourself that would be self-nurturing? Be here. Love it, love it. Okay, so, and how do you feel now? Okay, you feel neutral?
Yep.
Okay, so, and you can choose to do that one thing for yourself. You can do, well, I really like to listen to Led Zeppelin. Okay, when would you like to do that? I could do that now. You can do it in an hour from now. You can do it 2 years from now. But if you have that in your consciousness that you're going to self-care, or I really like to take a walk by the river, choose to do that for yourself and then do that for yourself. That's part of your process, and it is a process. It's not an instantaneous fix, it's not a Band-Aid, but it's a process. And if you allow the process to process through you, you'll stay in your heart space, okay? And as a result, your emotions become neutral. And then you get to a place of, I can see where he got, upset. I understand that. And there can be acceptance and peace. And then that will lead to some other positive emotions like joy and gratitude, appreciation, hope, fulfillment. Okay? So if somebody's still not peaceful after that, then we get to look at the judgment. Because sometimes we don't use the emotions in the pattern that's set out here. We go straight to judgment. I feel abandoned. That's not a feeling. That's a judgment. I feel disrespected. Disrespected is not a feeling. But how many times do we tell ourselves that? And we put the word feel in front of it and make, that's going to be an emotion. I'm going to make that an emotion. No, it's not. No, the emotions that will bring you through a trauma are anger, sadness, fear, guilt and shame, and the pronouncements. You get through that, and then you can move into I get to, they get to, and move through the emotion. It's like feel it, experience it, and move through it. How many people have hung out with somebody who's just always stuck on angry? That's just not fun. It's not fun, and you never know when they're going to snap. Because they've got all this stuff built up. And it won't take much and go, and they're over the edge. And it could be nothing. So don't be that guy. Be the one who moves through your emotions. Get to the other side of your emotions. Be angry, but don't sin. Anger is a beautiful, powerful emotion to tell you, whoa, something's up here. And you get to see either something's up, a boundary's been breached, I need to look at a boundary, or I'm in judgment. And I get to look at that. It's not about the other person, it's about this person sitting right here and what this person's going to do about it. Does that make sense? Any questions?
How aware do you have to be in that process?
How aware do you have to be? If you know you're angry, you're there. That's it. I'm angry. Oh, good. Thank goodness. I can do the heart speak process. I can reconnect my heart and brain.
Oh, yeah. That's where I go, sure.
Yeah, sure. That's what your soul is saying. The ego's going, no, I want to be mad for the rest of my life. And I'll punish them accordingly. Yes, that. And how much fun is that? We hang out and we want to be suffer. We want to suffer. No, we don't. Our soul doesn't, but our ego does. Because if I suffer, then I can make you wrong. And the ego loves that. Ego loves that, right? But the soul mourns the loss of connection. The soul mourns the connection of the head and the brain. It's not that they get disconnected, they just get cluttered up. Okay? So let's do a guided med. Yes, ma'am.
Can you get so angry that the rest of this just won't work for you because you're in that state of mind where you can't get past it?
Okay, that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. I'm gonna restate it. Okay, he's doing sign language in the back, and I didn't know what he was doing. Okay, she asked, if you get so angry about something, can you not use this process? If you're so angry about something, you probably have layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. Okay, so do what you can, and then realize there's something underneath, and look again. And do what you can, and get underneath that, because you will. Things will just come out in layers. Also, if you get stuck in sad, or you're stuck in fear, dig deeper till you find the anger. And you may have to go from fear down to sadness, and then to the anger. But anger is the key, is the root. I think that's why the good book picked that one out. Because that's the root. That's the one that you start to move through first. And when you move through that one, everything else is like, have you ever seen those little domino things? And you go tink, and they go brrrr. It's a domino effect. Anger is the first domino. Get that first one. And if you can't find that, then back up till you find anger about it. It's there. It's there. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am. Question.
So it could actually be the cause of a depression. It could actually start with anger.
So our question is, could this be the start of depression? That, yes, unresolved anger can be. Now, I hear me say this about depression. Depression is a chemical imbalance as well as an emotional imbalance. When you process emotions out, this gives your body a better chance of dealing with it. You may still need chemical assistance with that. There may be other things that are to be worked at. And that's why we use the emotion code and tapping and the A-ward process and all that sort of thing. There are things that we can do to help us process out all of that stuff that doesn't fit in the anger, sad, fear, guilt, shame. That makes sense? Yes, ma'am.
Also, what I think, this is my honest feeling, I think if you don't resolve that anger, it actually shows up as an illness in your body.
And as she was saying here, that if we don't resolve the anger, it can show up as illness in our body. I agree with that. Yes, sir.
And if you want company in this process, come on Wednesday night.
Come on Wednesday night. Yeah, they'll have a whole other thing that you can work through.
This is what we do on Wednesday night.
This is what you're doing. Is really looking at it. Because if we don't look at it, it's there. It stays stuck. And when we stay stuck, we're not happy. If I could just wave a magic wand and go ting, I would give you happy. Because you deserve it. But the only way to get there is sometimes work through it. And it's not really work. How long did that take? 2 minutes? Process that? Did it hurt? No. Just took looking at it in a new way. Roy, you had a question?
No, I was actually just going to say that no matter how angry you get, you have to guard your language.
Exactly. Guard your language. Exactly.
Don't dig the hole deeper.
Yeah. Can't dig out of the hole. Yeah. Because I'm angry because is something you say to self, not to the other person. You say it to yourself. I'm angry because this is your introspection. It's not their job to make your world okay. It's not God's job to make your world okay. It's my job. Then the angel of deliverance will come and swoop in and help out at the last minute if you need it. Willie, you had a question?
Well, I have a statement because it seems like sometimes you get that defense thing going, and so it's like an angry thing, but it's like I'm trying to defend.
Yep, we do. Yep, we do.
I have been in this constant prayer of Holy Spirit, please forgive me. No, Holy Spirit, please forgive myself. And to help me to forgive myself.
Exactly.
It starts from myself.
Yep.
And it's helped a lot.
Awesome.
Stay out of that.
Awesome. Because that's the first thing we do, is go into that state of judgment, defending ourselves, So Willie was just saying that she offers a prayer, asking Holy Spirit to help her move through that, stay out of judgment, forgiving herself so that she can forgive the other person, move into a state of neutral, if nothing else. And then past neutral is joy and abundance and gratitude.